Thanks for joining. And definitely a really exciting topic, something I'm recently getting into more deeply. And the more I learn about it, the more exciting it is, especially for TBI recovery. It seems like there's a lot of promising things in the forefront. So pretty exciting. Tom introduced me a little bit. Yeah, I'm a nutritionist. I do work with plant medicine. I'm diving more into plant spirit medicine and leading meditations where we connect to the spirit of the plants and learn from them directly in that way. I'm also an herbalist, and so I love the scientific aspect and all of those details about herbs as well. I find it all extremely fascinating, and it's a constant growth of experience and knowledge and education all the time. Today, again, I'm just going to talk about plants and then go into CBD and psilocybin and a few other herbs that you can integrate into your life to help with your traumatic brain injury recovery. And if you don't have a TBI, I'm pretty sure everybody here has had that experience. If not, this is still beneficial for your brain either way. It's going to help your brain get better with memory and the nerve-to-nerve communication and a bunch of different positive impacts on your overall mental well-being. And just to reiterate the disclaimer, what I say is based on my experience and my research and who I am as an herbalist and nutritionist. I'm not a doctor. So definitely before implementing anything that I say, double check with your primary healthcare practitioner or your doctor before doing anything. So first of all, I want to talk about plants, just a little tidbit about how incredible plants are in general. These are all plants. So they utilize the same neurotransmitters that we do. So serotonin, dopamine, acetylcholine to communicate within their systems. And so their roots in the earth are engaged in social activities that actually require self-awareness. So we think that we are like on the top of the food pyramid, that we are more conscious and aware than plants, but really actually plants are extremely aware and require their own awareness of themselves, which is kind of crazy to think about that they have self-awareness. And so they also know how to build cities, they cooperate with each other, they have intelligence, they have language between each other, they know how to adapt to their environment and to protect their offspring. And they also remember what they've gone through and share that information with generations to come so they can withstand any other traumatic events that they've had to withstand. So just like us, plants are absolutely incredible, and they've been here before us and they're going to be here after us. And so they're definitely a species to learn from. They have a lot of wisdom with adaptation, a lot of wisdom with healing, with self-healing. And there's so many aspects that they can help us with physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, on all the layers and levels. And the more that we communicate and ingest them and connect with them, the stronger our relationship is going to be with them and the more they can help us heal. So plants are definitely a place to go to when needing support. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about brain-derived neurofactor. I'm just going to pivot for a minute and then I'll get back into the plants. And so one thing that they help us with is establishing this protein in our brain that helps with the survival of our nerve cells with our neurons. And they play a role in growth and maturation of our cells in our brain. And so BDNF, it helps to specifically work with the cells in the hippocampus, which has to do with memory. It helps to make our neurons more vigorous so they can withstand more stress. It strengthens the synapses, which is the nerve-to-nerve communication, which oftentimes with a brain injury, that can be highly impacted. There can be a lack of nerve-to-nerve communication, which can be frustrating. It can kind of feel like you have a thought and then it's gone, or you can't quite get that same smooth transition of your thought processes and your memory, or things that used to be more smooth. The synapses, when they're impacted, it can seem like more like rigid, if that makes sense. Like things are like lacking, like it's hard for your brain to communicate with itself effectively. So brain-derived neurofactor can help with this aspect of our brain. And it boosts learning and memory. And then also lower levels of this neurofactor are associated with cognitive decline. So we've also seen in Alzheimer's less of this in our brains as well. So boosting the brain-derived neurofactor can help in aiding your injury recovery. So you want to boost this to help your brain recover. So ways that you can do it aside from just plants is proper nutrition, which those who know me definitely always am pushing that on everybody. Deep sleep, exercise, meditation, and environmental and social enrichment. So connecting to your group of people, having, these classes where you connect to each other and you talk and you enrich each other's lives through just human to human connection is absolutely important. So when you think about how good you feel after doing those certain things, that's one of the reasons why you feel so good, is that this protein is being formed in your brain that's helping everything enhance. So a few herbs that are good for BDNF and traumatic brain injury. One of them is called Bacopa, and it's BACOPA. It's an anti-inflammatory, an antioxidant, and nervine, so it calms down your nervous system. So one thing when healing from a traumatic brain injury is your nervous system can be ultra sensitive. I don't know if you guys have noticed that within yourselves. You maybe are more impacted by the environment around you. You feel more overwhelmed potentially, or just more like anxious, different things can impact your nervous system even more because your body's a little bit more on edge, there's a little bit more stress in your system as it's trying to heal and recover, and from different reasons for everybody's brain that could impact your nervous system. But Bacopa helps to calm that down. So it helps to relax your nervous system. It's also nootropic, which is an herb that's good for your brain. It just helps specifically your brain. And that boosts BDNF as well. It can be used with ginkgo, rosemary, and holy basil, which slows the progression of neurodegenerative disease, and it also stimulates recovery from head trauma injury. So again, it can be used with ginkgo, rosemary, which you can find in the grocery store, and holy basil, also known as Tulsi. So if you blend those together, that's good for TBI. So another thing that boosts BDNF is cacao, which also, those of you who know me, I love chocolate. I have a chocolate company. I work with cacao a lot. So that boosts this neurofactor, and it has to be 72% or above if you get a chocolate bar, but that's like the easiest and best way to boost this in your body and your brain. Gotu kola is another one, and that helps with memory and brain. It's also a nervine, so it relaxes your nervous system. It also has been used by monks to help balance the right and left hemispheres of the brain. So sometimes with different brain injuries, there might be a challenge between the hemispheres of communication. So you might have like more of a creative thought process and maybe less of the analytical, or you might have a lot of the analytical and you need maybe some support with getting into a meditative space and relaxing your brain. So this kind of helps to balance and communicate both of the sides of your brain. And if you meditate a lot, this is a great one to just meditate with in general. It gets you into a great meditative space. It's also an anti-inflammatory, which we're trying to do for brain injury recovery is really reduce inflammation as much as possible. And that also boosts BDNF. And it also reduces anxiety and depression. So holy basil is another one. It's an adaptogen. So an adaptogen helps us to handle stress better in our body. And so especially with TBI, you want to help your body deal with the stress that it just withstood, right? It's like you want to make sure that you can support it as much as you possibly can. And if your body's trying to heal your brain, then you're going to naturally feel a little bit more stressed, right? And so the more you can help your body adapt to handling that process, the better. And holy basil, also known as Tulsi, is in the grocery stores. You can buy it in tea bags. Organic India is an amazing company that I really love. And specifically Tulsi Rose is a really good one from them, and Rose opens your heart. So I'd highly recommend if anything that you get from this talk today that you want to incorporate, that's definitely something that's super easy to obtain and really beneficial for so much of your body and brain. It's also an antidepressant and an antioxidant. And that, again, when combined with ginkgo and bacopa, is specific for TBI recovery. And you could also do St. John's wort with that too. Yes, and then another two herbs, we've got rhodiola, which helps to boost BDNF, and that's another adaptogen. And then rosemary is something you can get in the grocery store. You can even just smell it, and that helps with your memory. So if you're having a hard time with cloudy thinking or memory, rosemary is a good one to introduce.